So let me get my, so George Smallsreed Jr. Small Market Photographer of the Year. We have 2 entries in this category. And each portfolio in both in this category and the large market category have to have a news picture, sports picture, a picture story is required in this one, and pictures from at least 2 other categories. And like I said, we've checked them. They meet those requirements, but that's just kind of how they differ from the sports portfolio, like sports photographer, for example. So let me bring up those 2. And we'll just run through them both big, and then we can discuss and vote and go from there. Okay. First entry. And second. Okay. So those are our 2 small market portfolios. And I guess maybe since there's only 2, you can tell me what you think. Maybe we can just talk and then kind of figure out which one we might want to award. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So have at it.
Can we see one again?
Sure. And again, if there's captions you need read or summaries of stories you haven't seen, we can do that as well.
And then back to 2. I think for me, the thing that distinguishes between the 2, if you go back to 1, there's a number of really sweet moments in the singles, and I think in the sports categories too, in terms of peak, just good, strong action. I think you can tell there's a lens issue for this person. Like it may be like a really old something, just based on the kind of the quality of the image. They may be shooting with like a 3rd generation once removed kind of body or something, but because in those darker, in a evening football game, it's not holding up as well. But there is that the helmet coming off is a nice picture, the crying face, or dejection. I don't know if it's sweat or tears. I think it's probably sweat and dejection. I think this photographer is seeing a few more moments than maybe the other photographer is.
I agree with that.
The first one, I think there's a picture from, I think it's number 16, where it's kind of that it is that similar point of, and being in a barn, you're going to lose a ton of light, and if you're in a space like that with maybe like an older camera, and maybe you don't have 2.8 glass, and you're having to make that at at 4 or 5, 6, that's like pushing certain like camera settings while like the eye is there.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's almost kind of unfair to the photographer, because you can tell that like they're putting intentionality into the work.
Yeah, and that kiss from the first day of school to the hug at graduation, that was kind of up there during our first round of, I think it was news category. This person's not afraid to get close.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, right? Like, so you can tell that they're comfortable in the situations that they're photographing, and that the people are that are around them are also comfortable. So have learned to, be that fly on the wall. The stories are a little haphazard, but I think that they're working. Maybe there's not enough there to make a complete story. The flying one, I think, is a good example. I think it's a sweet story. It was a World War II pilot who's getting to go up again and fly. Is that not having the gear to maybe mount a camera or do something that would allow for an in-flight picture? Those are always a hard thing, but I think they were looking for moments and stuff. And I want a wiener dog race in my hometown. I don't know if that'll happen, but
once we see, like, I think it's number 24, like the general view, 23 and 24 are like those sorts of like general view pictures. And I'm like, God, you could put a remote camera on like a little plate, and you can stick it on the side or like at the finish line, like things like that like having those sorts of assignments, or even like like self-assigning these sorts of events. Like you could tell that the photographer is like really like getting in there to try to make something new or interesting or different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we go to 2 again? I want to just kind of look at, I mean, I think that the lamb story is very sweet. There's a lot of nice moments there. And it's clear that they spent some time, because I don't know if she's changed or whatever in a day, but there are like 4 different outfits. So they've either been back or whatever. So I think that, committing to telling that story, I thought was commendable. And this person is, it's like all small newspapers, you do a lot of preps, right? So I think this person is got some nice images in here. I think the other one there's just, I don't want to say more, but the variety, you can see that the experience is a little more refined. The eye is a little more refined here.
Okay. So I guess the next question then is, what do you want to recognize? Do you want to recognize both? Do you want to just pick one? It's really up to you.
Can we see 2 one more time? My thought is to recognize one.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Tim, how are you feeling about that?
I'm okay with recognizing one.
Okay. Just based on the discussion here, and feel free to change that if you would like. It sounds like this first portfolio might be the one that the 3 of you are leaning towards.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we just go ahead and we'll just throw that out there. We'll formally vote on this one for Small Market Photographer of the Year.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations to that.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And then the second one, you have to vote it in or out, I guess.
Out.
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 Okay. All right. So there you go. Small Market Photographer of the Year.
I would tell that photographer that we just gave an out to, work your daily assignments just as much as you worked your 4-H story. The fire picture, or the pelican picture. Like, treat every assignment that you do as if it's a mini picture story, and you might find you create and make more interesting pictures overall. I'm not saying that maybe you're not, but seeing what was in the portfolio made me think, what else was there from that fire when you had that gargantuan smoke cloud, and just continue to work those scenes as best you can.
Anybody else want to weigh in before we stop the recording for this category and give any feedback?
Nope.
Okay.
Or support these local small market papers, because Lord knows they do too much and don't get enough recognition. To be able to put a portfolio all together and all of like the running around that they have to do.
Yep.
Insane.
Yep.
Well said. Well said. Congratulations to the winner. And that was really good feedback. So thank you guys both. Thank all 3 of you. Thank you.